Good to be back. Another week of the Continental Classic and another good week of Dynamite. Thank you all for joining me to end the podcast. As World's End, we're getting more and, just a bit more clarity as far as World's End on the 30th for AEW, but so we already know MJF and Samoa Joe is lined up for the main event. Big Bill and Ricky Starks versus Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega. That was announced on Wednesday. And Hangman Page was apparently attacked as we went off, or as Dynamite went off the air. He was attacked by the Devil and the Devil's Masked Man. Were attacked. So again, growing speculation because MJF was attacked last week, quote unquote, but we didn't see who attacked him. We did see who attacked Hangman on Wednesday, so they're really creating the dynamic of this could be MJF. You know, the way it seems, and this may be the most obvious and case as towards the payoff. Adam Cole, that could be where it stands. It's funny though, because the Acclaim went through Glass, and then same with Hangman. So I mean, with the media and whatnot, that we have not seen Jack Perry on TV since, or in general, we have not seen Jack Perry since All In, when he faced Hook in that very good match on the buy-in. But then obviously the Punk thing, how that went about, and both were, Perry was suspended, Punk was fired. It poses a unique dilemma. But I think the most obvious and natural payoff would be Adam Cole, the Kingdom, Roderick Strong, perhaps Wardlow. The more and more you see these attacks, you think Wardlow is a part of this. We haven't seen much of it, but yeah, Wardlow could definitely be behind this as well, some sort of fashion. We'll see. It's definitely a unique storyline for the last number of months, and I like to see it. The Von Erichs, would like to point this out because I'm not sure how many have paid attention, but so the Iron Claw, and I kind of popped for this, but excuse me. The Iron Claw movie comes out on the 22nd, starring Jeremy Allen White, Zac Efron, Harris Dickinson, Holt McCallany, plenty of guys. MJF is partly a part of it. Chavo Guerrero, Ryan Nemeth, a number of guys that helped out for pro wrestling side to make this movie about the Von Erich family. Great stuff. And Kevin Von Erich, he was there with his sons in a backstage segment. So that was good to see. And apparently his sons will be in a match on Rampage. I know, I bet people are disappointed at me a little bit that that was backstage and not in front of the live audience, but be interesting to see. But yeah, we got some good stuff. Colorado Classic, Moxley for Swerve, etc. But with that out of the way, it's not getting too much. Let's get into the review, shall we? So, Samoa Joe, we start off, and this is a breath of fresh air. Starting with an open like this. Good stuff. So, Samoa Joe was out there and talked about him wanting MJF to be 100% when they face off on the 30th. So that way, MJF has no excuses when Samoa Joe takes the rightful place, wins, and becomes your AEW World Champion. And he kind of failed last week as, MJF was shown attacked, blindsided, out cold with a bottle. So, Samoa Joe said last week, as he was looking for answers, he saw the bottle, took a smell of it, said, "Rigged familiar of a certain cowboy," and when you looked for that certain cowboy, he was nowhere to be found. So, next thing you know, we see or hear the music play of Hangman on Page, and Hangman bolted to the ring. We know he set to face Roderick Strong in a match. So Hangman was like, well, he already went with the accusations last week of how MJF accused him. And this week he's like, maybe it's Max, maybe, he's trying to frame me, and, he said, if you got something to say, why don't you just say it to my face like the man I thought you were? And Samoa Joe blatantly said, well, you got it all wrong, Hangman, saying that I'm all out here trying to play detective when really I'm out here playing your executioner. So then all of a sudden we hear Roderick strong, no more wheelchair, out there with the Kingdom, set to face Hangman in a good match. He talked about, again, trying to play the fact that Max is devil, saying, I cannot see it, and man was not having any of it. He was pissed with Samoa Joe, and, Heyman was like, to leave it alone thing. I'm trying to talk with my best friend by association, Samoa. And then he gets decked by Hangman. Samoa Joe has some words for Hangman. And then, next thing you know it, Samoa Joe leaves. Aubrey's in there. The match is about to resume between Hangman and Roddy, which was a good opening match between these two. But, yeah, it was. Well, I just found out some news before we continue with the review. Kenny Omega. I just talked about the title match that was made for World's End. Some wrinkle to that news. And, people wondering why Kenny Omega was not in the Continental Classic and why he's in this storyline he's been on. Well, a bit more clarity. As Kenny Omega has announced on social media, from the horse's mouth, that he is out indefinitely with some injury, not sure what. Obviously 2 years ago, he had those boatload of injuries and he was out for half a year. Came back middle last year, looked better than ever. Then the suspension from the brawl out, and looked great. This year he was having a hell of a year. He is one of the better, if not the best wrestler in the world the last number of years. I mean, with his body of work. And it's unfortunate because he's one key players in AEW and all of pro wrestling. And particularly now with him being out, that tag team title match at World's End ain't gonna happen. So gonna have to do something. Yeah, that's a blow. Real blow, but hope for Kenny Omega. And hope he has a speedy recovery. Yeah, that's a blow. And what's weird now, what's weird about Kenny Omega's situation, I was going to talk about it later for the segment, but what's been so weird is ever since Brawl Out and All In, when Punk got fired, the Young Bucks and FTR both have been worse for wear, really. I mean, since that I mean, you could tell there's been a friction backstage or something. Because, you know, back when at WrestleDream, you know, Young Bucks won that fatal four-way tag team title match, or number one contenders match. And then, next thing you know, Saturday the following, FTR lose the titles to Big Bill and Ricky Starks. And then since then, we don't get any word on television really about the Young Bucks tag team title shot. You know, I mean, they won the Ring of Honor trios titles from Hangman, or with Hangman from Mogul Embassy, but that was about it. And then they talk about Golden Jets brought up about their tag team title shot, and then the Golden Jets beat the Bucks at Full Gear, which was a pretty decent match. But since then, we have not really heard much of the Young Bucks. I mean, it's, yeah, and FTR, you know, seems like they're feuding with House of Black. So at least that's something for both factions, but, or for both teams. But yeah, it's, talk about a blow. Considering now Punk is in WWE, and it's just personal sides just not gaining ground for the better for all parties. Anyways, back to the review. So we have Roddy versus Hangman after that great open from Hangman and Samoa Joe. This was a good match. Roddy, you know, great of him, you know, still a very solid wrestler. Hangman, we know how good he is. This is Hangman's first match since losing to Swerve at Full Gear. This is good. Roddy, of course, you know, so as to target the back of, excuse me, of Hangman multiple times. See a backbreaker on the top turnbuckle. He hit a Tiger Driver. Yeah. Good stuff by Roddy, but Hangman fired back. He had a big boot. Focused on the shoulder a bit of Roddy. Yeah, excuse me. Dead fell driver then by Hangman for a near fall. Out of the corner, Hangman hit a pop-up powerbomb. I didn't say a pop-up and sit-out powerbomb for a near fall. Kingdom tried to get involved, but Hangman took them both out with a moonsault from the top to the outside. And then Hangman hit the Deadeye for the win. So, good match, good opener. Hangman, you know, gets back on the winning track. Being Roddy in a solid match. Then the first of Blue League action on Dynamite. Refreshing, not just the Coke, or Coca-Cola, but lately we've just been seeing Blue League on Collision and then Gold League on Dynamite. Now we saw a Blue League match on Dynamite, which is good, between Brody and Andrade. Which was very good smash mouth type of match you expect for Blue League supremacy after Andrade beat Bryan Danielson in a very good match on Saturday. Here again against Brody. Did not disappoint. So, Andrade hit a moonsault to the outside on the Brody. Brody, of course, his knee was getting targeted by Andrade in preparation for the figure 8 or figure 4, whichever you want to say. So, Andrade had a good portion of offense in this match. He had a split leg moonsault. The way it just hits so sudden, it's good spot for a near fall off the top. Rolling cannonball by Brody for a near fall. He got some offense, but tide turn, and then Andrade hit his big back elbow, which could finish anyone. The top turnbuckle was exposed. So, Brody King went face first or into this exposed turnbuckle. And then next thing you know, Andrade hits his signature hammerlock DT. 1, 2, 3, and Andrade gets the win. Andrade's up to 9 points in the tournament. It's going to be fun. He will face Claudio on Saturday. Something to note. It's going to be fun. We'll see. But Brody, he's still at 6 points. He's still very viable. In this contest, he faced Bryan Danielson, though, on Saturday, which will be grueling and fun. Von Erichs, as I mentioned. So, Kevin Von Erich was backstage. He was with his sons, Ross and Marshall. And backstage, Renee would interview them, talking about how they're liking their AEW, or being there in AEW. And Kevin praised it. Mentioned how it's good to be back in Texas. Excuse me. So then, Orange Cassidy, Trent Barrett, and Danhausen all chimed in. I'll admit this is kind of not pleasantly seen for the Von Erichs first interaction for AEW. I can understand if people were disappointed, not thinking this is great. Felt kind of goofy for them. Anyway, so Orange Cassidy noted how he needs two partners for a match on Rampage. So he has sort of help of Ross and Marshall. Even though he has Trent and that was the next one. So they all chimed in for a all in, hands clap, whichever. And yeah, there was that. So now they didn't say anything about them being all elite. I won't check into Rampage, see how the match goes. I mean, it's a 6-man tag with or a trios match with Orange Cassidy and Devon Eriks versus Daddy Magic, Matt Menard, Angel Parker, and Jake Hager. So it may be a comedic match, but I guess it's a way for Ross and Marshall. I mean, who knows? I mean, like I said, MJF and Ryan Nemeth are going to be in the movie. So, there's kind of ties and connections already in there. So, we'll see how they look. I haven't seen any of their matches. I'm not sure. But if they're good, and the weird thing about AEW is they have a good tag team division. They just don't book it well. So we'll see. But Golden Jets. This segment feels weird talking about it after the K Omega news. So K Omega was out there. I'd say it's good that we got the K Omega entrance live, and then Jericho's music or entrance was during the break. So, second, I definitely think was this and the Von Erich segment definitely felt like the weakest segments on the show. But did very much enjoy, to a T, this segment with all parties involved, because Sarks is good, Big Bill is, it's working in tandem with Ricky Sarks. They've been working well. They just look really good as tag team partners, or as a tag team in this match, or in general in AEW. And not too sure about this segment. I mean, try to play along. Anyways, Kenny Omega announced, about their title shot and that, maybe we go for it on World's End and take those 2 title belts off you guys and put it around our waist. So, in the end, it was okay. It was okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna get into it much because, geez, that Kenny Omega news is much of a blow. Yeah, much of a blow. So, we got Ruby Soho versus Riho. Tony Sullivan's on commentary. Match was fine. But, I mean, it's like Riho returns last week after being off for many weeks. And then all of a sudden she's beats Ruby Soho and looks like this is just a way to get Tony Storm on World's End. I mean, there's segments where it looks like they're going forward. I mean, this Continental Classic has been great. This storyline with the Devil's Masked Men, it's going great. Or very good, at least. But then, with the women, and, it's just the same. Double knees by Riho for the win. How long has Ruby Soho been on TV now and she's been losing? I mean, it's like Saraya. It doesn't really feel like she was ever champion. I mean, we see her in much more segments and, just that moment to win all in and then, yeah. I don't know. Maybe this also is key because we saw Mariah May out there, getting her used to the crowd. It is definitely possible that this tying into Mariah May's first AEW match on television. Wardlow. He had another vignette segment, was out. He was training, did have, a great performance against Willie Mack on Saturday, which I missed originally, but segment's good. Yeah, it's definitely feels like Wardlow is a part of these masked men that have been attacking people for a purpose. Roosh versus Jay Lethal. This was a very good match for the Colin Classic. Roosh, they mentioned for he's still alive to be in the finals for the Gold League, but he needs to win this match and have help to go to the finals. Lethal has not. It sucks. He has not won a match or gotten any points. Yet. But yeah. Anyways, the match was solid for what it was. You know, Lethal had a lethal combination. Roosh counted up with a roll up for near fall. Lethal went for a lethal injection, but got caught by Roosh, who locked him into a sleeper choke, and Lethal tapped out. That's twice Lethal's tapped in this tournament. That's pretty much a blow. Anyways, Roosh wins. He stays alive. Lethal, yeah, he's been getting consoled by Jeff Jarrett and crew. You wonder, is this a way for people to build sympathy for Lethal and perhaps turn him into a babyface? It's definitely possible. Because on one hand, you think, okay, well, he's losing, affiliated with them, maybe it's time for a change. And then Lethal goes on his own. And we know how good of a wrestler Jay Lethal is. I mean, I still think going back to his early TNA days and Ring of Honor days, he is very good. But yeah, big win for Roosh. Certainly celebrated in the crowd. Yeah. Next up, Jay White, who my pick and my favorite to win this whole thing. It's mixed feelings as to who's gonna win this. So, 1-on-1 with Mark Briscoe. You know, pretty much White wins. He's also very much intact to win the Continental or being the finals for Gold League, sitting at 6 points. Yeah, the match is good. Fast start by Mark. He had a froggy ball early on, but Jay rolled to the outside, avoid, tried to get a breather, grabbed the cable, I assume from a camera, and then tried to get some time, buy time. And then for a while, but kind of what turned the tide is Jay White dumped Mark Briscoe over the top onto the outside. Really forced separation and kind of turned the tide for Jay White in this match. Back in the ring, he had a big kick followed with a DT for a near fall. And then back was Jay White on the outside. Mark hit a cactus jack like elbow from the apron back in the ring for a near fall. White was on the top rope, but Mark caught him, landed a crucifix like bomb, then for another near fall. Jay then started attacking the knee of Mark with some dragon screws. Mark followed up with a cradle for a near fall, and then countered a Blade Runner into a high stack like exploder, like suplex throw. Went for a froggy bow, but Jay White got the knees up, and then really quickly out of nowhere, White hit the Blade Runner. 1, 2, 3. Jay White wins. Proves to 9 points in the tournament. So White stands currently, 3 tied for 9 points. Next week, Jay White, Jon Moxley. That's... If we thought Jon Moxley for Swerve was tough, as in very good, and a tough match to pick, this is going to be unique with Jon Moxley and Jay White. Can Moxley do a clean sweep throughout his opponents in the Gold League? We'll see. And then the main event, which just mentioned, was very good. The crowd was into it right before the match even started. Yeah, it was good. So, now the scenario, 9 points versus 9 points. Who's going to help propel themselves to the finals in the Gold League for the tournament? I see, but match was very good. It started off slow, after these matches where it's like fast starts and then don't got any time to breathe first. Match was good. So, start off with chain wrestling. So, that was obviously different. So after a while, Swerve got the upper end, and then Mox turned around with a lariat. So, Mox was on the middle rope. And good stuff by Swerve. This was a good spot in the openers match. Mox was on the middle rope, and then Swerve kicked his feet under him, and then basically was crotched like on the middle rope. So then Swerve followed up with a huge DDT from the middle rope. So that was a good spot by Swerve. And then I mentioned big lariat by Mox. He had a pile driver then for a near fall. Swerve, his shoulder was wrapped or taped from still selling effects from Texas Deathmatch at Full Gear. So, Swerve went for a dive on the outside, but Mox caught him with the ring skirt for the apron. And he basically got crotched by the ring skirt. Been a while since I've seen a spot like that. But definitely had to have sucked. Excuse me. So, Moxley then targeting his shoulder of Swerve, sent Swerve shoulder first into the steel steps, and then we got to break. as Moxley got the upper hand. In the break, I don't usually pay attention too much for a commercial break, but considering the Continental Classic and the main event, so the great thing about the best news about missing Dynamite and recording it is that you can go back, fast forward through commercials and spots that not needed. So, yeah. But I did tune into the commercial break. Mox's superplex continued to target this injured shoulder. Swerve hit a backbreaker, followed with a suplex and then a bicycle kick for a near fall. Swerve went to the top, but was thrown off the turnbuckle, then back in the ring. Mox hit a curb stomp, only for a near fall, which definitely got his attention. So then Mox got hit with a dive by Swerve on the outside as Moxley went for a chair, and then Mox was set up on this chair, sitting on it, and then Swerve hit a swerve stomp onto Mox as he's sitting on this chair. Back in the ring, Swerve hit the swerve stomp, only for a near fall though. So Justin Roberts went in about the time, and he thought, okay, you mentioned time limit and stuff. And you're thinking, okay, one time limit draw has to happen. I mean, if you are vocal about it. So, in any event, Moxley then got the advantage back. So, Swerve went on the attack, went for the JML driver, and all of a sudden Moxley countered, rolled him up for the win, but his shoulder was up. Swerve's shoulder was up, and they pointed that out. But call it 1, 2, 3. Moxley got the win, got the roll, and Moxley has 12 points. So 4-0 in the tournament. Next week face Jay White. This is gonna be tough, but very fun. Been enjoying this Continental Classic, and Saturday's gonna be good. Expect next week to be none better. Good stuff. If it's this good next year, you can only imagine this year, you can only imagine what next year is going to look like for the tournament. But good stuff for the first Continental Classic. And yeah, we'll see how it goes Saturday. But anyways, guys, and then before they were able to cut off the air, they cut to the back parking lot, and then Hangman was shown attacked by the masked men. And then Taz said, well, there's someone in the car. And then guy with the devil mask appears out the driver's seat of the car. And Hangman is chokeslammed onto this glass hood or the windshield. And there's that. So, and then we're cut off the air. So, Who is it? I will say the guy in the mask this time looked different from the guy we got originally in the mask. So, also a different mask. So, interesting to see when we get the reveal. Is it going to be World's End? Something like that. Does MJF lose the title at World's End? It's certainly out there how MJF is injured. And who knows how long Adam Cole, his injury is. So, a lot of variables taken into account for World's End. But for now, guys, thank you for joining me. Your host, A. Joe to and Love here. But see you guys sometime next week, Monday perhaps, for Collision. And then, of course, see you guys back again next week for Dynamite. But take care, guys. See you guys next time. Smash that like button. Thumbs up. Peace.